Oh, it's not up. Welcome back, everyone, to Gussy Boy, the show where we dive into all things college hockey. We're your hosts, Jasper and Clay, and today we're taking a full tour of the national picture. We're talking top teams, sleeper picks, Spangler Cup, and what's shaping up to be one of the most competitive seasons we've had in years. Whether you're a diehard follower of the Big Ten, a hockey's defender to the grave, or you just stumbled here because you heard the word Frozen 4 and got intrigued, you're in the right place. Now let's drop the puck and get into it. Clay?
So, to start, we had over winter break, we had the World Juniors, which the U.S. team had a lot of BU kids, and so obviously they lost, right? BU, they're not having a very good season, they're overrated, but a lot of their kids got called up for the U.S. team, and they just were not performing. A couple other noticeable college players that were there was Eric Nilsson of Michigan State, Wilson Bjork of Colorado College, and Sasha Boumediene, from BU. Apparently he has really big ears, Mickey Mouse head.
All play for Team Sweden, who won.
Yes.
And then Spangler Cup, of course, with the collegiate select team. Pretty much the Penn State team with Vinny Borghese as their captain. Made it all the way up to the finals with just one win, losing in the finals to HT Davos 6-3. The game got away from them with 5 minutes to go. They led in 3 goals in the last 5 minutes. Clay?
Yep, and then big recap is Dartmouth having a terrible winter break, just picking up 4 losses. They were 8-0. Now they're just, those 4 losses really do sting, and I think it shows how weak the Ivy League actually is. And so I think that we're going to see that kind of balance out a lot lower down than was, expected.
All right, now let's get into our matchups of the week. Of course, we got our divisions, and then we have some extra fun ones. So, Hockey East, number 12 Maine versus number 18 Providence. What do we think?
I got Maine. I just think that Maine is probably the best Hockey East team, maybe second best. And I just think that they're going to go out and beat Providence.
Yeah, I agree. I think Maine did well over the break, and I think they're going to keep going with that. I have Maine. I think Providence is sneaky, though. They could pull something off, but I don't think this is their week. Next, we have the NCHC, number 6 Western Michigan versus number 7 Denver. See, this is one that will decide, big decider in the standings. If Denver's able to pull this off, they'll take ahead, and this could be what they're looking for after a loss last week to Maine.
I think that, personally, I'm rooting for Denver. Obviously, if Denver wins, that boosts Northeastern's MPI a little bit, having that good victory. But I do think that Western Michigan is a very quality team. I just hope that Denver has the edge to push over. And so I'm going with Denver here.
Yeah, I think Western Michigan has it. I think after the loss to Maine, Western Michigan, after Denver's loss to Maine, Western Michigan has a bit of an edge on them. All right, now for a Big Ten matchup, arguably the biggest matchup of this weekend, maybe even the year. We got number 2 Michigan State versus number 3 Wisconsin. Both big dogs. I have Wisconsin. I think they're a great team, and I think they're going to take this one.
I mean, I have to agree there with Wisconsin. I think that on paper, I like the quality of their squad a little bit more, and I just think that Michigan State obviously is brilliant. I think this game could go either way. I'm just hoping that Wisconsin kind of pushes over Michigan State because Michigan already has those other teams in Michigan to hold up the state, and I think it would be cool for Wisconsin.
And Michigan State already has, Wisconsin already has 2 wins over Michigan State. Not really letting up any points. Or they're 2-2. Sorry. No, they're two. Apologies. We're reading our score sheets wrong. Michigan State, they have 2 losses to Wisco. Wisco, only losses to Minnesota State. They lose to good teams, but I don't think Michigan State is that good team that's going to do it this weekend.
And then in the CCHA, we have St. Thomas versus Minnesota State. Like we just said, Minnesota State beat Wisconsin, and they are the ranked team here. I think that they're just going to beat St. Thomas. I think that, the CCHA is kind of a weaker division, and then Minnesota State kind of stands out there, and so they're going to be able to beat St. Thomas pretty easily.
Minnesota State's on the downfall. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Thomas beat them and took them out of the top 20 this weekend. I have no more with Minnesota State. upset after upset. Minnesota State's done for this one. St. Thomas, let's ride. Now we got the ECAC. Union versus number 18, Quinnipiac. Arguably both teams that should be ranked. Clay, what do we think?
I got Quinnipiac. I mean, I know that Union is right on the bubble, and I had them in an upset a few weeks ago, but I think that Quinnipiac is actually just going to take this win. And, obviously both quality teams, arguably both should be ranked, but I do think that Quinnipiac being ranked does show that they're a little bit better and that they're actually going to pull through with the win.
I agree. Quinnipiac hasn't had the best results recently. Taking a few losses, it seems they probably shouldn't, but that doesn't stop the fact that they're still a very good team and they do belong where they're sat. So next we have the Atlantic Hockey Division. We got Bentley versus Air Force. Nothing too special, but of course we have to keep all the divisions in here. We can't just make them disappear like college football. Clay, thoughts?
Honestly, not really. I'd probably root for Bentley. I think that Air Force is just a little bit too west, and honestly, I don't like those western, especially kind of southwestern-ish teams, being good at hockey. I think that should be reserved for Midwest/Northeast teams, and so I think that Bentley's going to win.
Yeah, so the point of the game was to keep the puck in the air. Air Force would do a great job, but it's not. You're supposed to get in the net. Bentley in this one. Now we got Independent, everyone's favorites, Stonehill versus LIU. Two debatable teams. Stonehill, definitely underrated, though. I think we can all agree that Stonehill should pull through. LIU, when has a Shark ever played hockey? San Jose is across the country. They can stay in Long Island.
I think that Stonehill really is, I think they really are going to win this game. I also really hope that they win this game just because obviously that would boost Northeastern, go Huskies. But besides that, I think that Stonehill is actually a very quality team. They just had they've had several losses that were very close against very strong teams, and I just think that they are missing that little bit of quality to compete with the elite teams, but they should be able to take care of Long Island.
I agree. Justin Mexico, he's my guy. Let's ride. Now, this week we have a Boston rivalry happening on Monday. Number 19 BU is playing Harvard. Clay, what do you think?
I think BU shit. I think they're overrated. So I'm going with Harvard here. I also think it would make the bean pot a bit more spicy if Harvard was able to take down BU, because then I would put all four Boston teams probably ranked. And I just think that leading into the bean pot, that would be super exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I have Harvard. I think the BU boys are tired from their winter shenanigans over.
Their undeserved winter shenanigans.
Yeah, okay. And I think Harvard, I don't agree with previous statements that Clay's made about the Ivy League being mid. I think Dartmouth, not as good as they think they are, but I think as a whole the Ivy League stand its own. Maybe not Brown and Yale, but the rest of them are pretty good.
So like 4 teams.
Yeah, 4 teams. Good number. But Boston hockey, it's where it's at. These teams are good. It's really toss up, but in the end, I think I have Harvard.
And then, in the toilet bowl, the worst game of the week picked by us, we have St. Lawrence versus Brown. Both of these teams just really struggling. Brown at 55th in MPI rankings, and then
St. Lawrence at 62. What do you think?
Looking at these records right now, 3-12 for Brown, 2-16, and 2 for St. Lawrence. That's pitiful for both of those programs. But I really don't like the Ivy League. I think that Brown, if you're 3-12 while in the Ivy League, I think that St. Lawrence should beat them. I think that that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, the Ivy League isn't as bad as some people say it is. I mean, their record doesn't really show that, but I think the Brown has had some. We took the goalie, Lawton Zacher. So I think they deserve a win once in a while. I think we give this one to Brown. And of course, what everybody's here for, the homeless Huskies. Our 2 games of the week, playing both at Vermont. Number 16 Northeastern at UVM. I think it's very clear what we think. Let's go Huskies. We don't have to think about our last game. That was out of respect for the military. And let's go Huskies. Thoughts?
I got Huskies. Generally, not putting my bias aside, I think that UVM, while they are a quality team, I think that Northeastern is looking for a bounce back win and they're looking to be motivated. I think that, with Borghese being tired after winter break, I think that this is a good opportunity for Northeastern to bounce back up with a quality Hockey East win and then, take that momentum further into the season.
Yeah. I think personally, Hockey East, it's the most competitive league, right? We got the Ivy League where there's a bunch of good teams, but they don't make up the whole ECAC. Like there's other teams like Quinnipiac who are doing well, but really I think Hockey East really is the most competitive league. It's the most entertaining, right? We got UConn who's sitting up top, but who knows? Someone could challenge them. Maine, BU, BC, Northeastern, lots of teams that could give them a fight for their money, and in the end, they have to play the games, right? And so, lots of rivalries in this division this week. So it's going to be exciting. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.